Hey everybody, it's Matthew at the Belmont Garden. I just wanted to take the opportunity to just give you a little virtual tour of the garden and show you how things are growing. It's my first day back after being on parental leave, and things have grown a lot since I was here last. We put some mason bees up on the shed here, and they are actually starting to emerge and fly around. I've seen a number of little blue orchard mason bees. They look kind of like fuzzy flies flying in and out of this. None right now, unfortunately, but they are around. You'll have to take my word for it. The pollinator bed out in front of the bee box looks pretty similar to before spring break. There's one little marigold flower that's starting to flower here. You can see the nice marigold flower in the garden there, and we'll get lots more flowers starting to come up soon. The native plant garden that we built is starting to grow. There's a whole bunch of this little yellow flower, and I've tried to figure out what the name of this plant was with my Pacific Northwest native plant knowledge cards, but it didn't have this plant, and I gotta look it up because it's one that I'm not familiar with. It's beautiful little yellow flowers, and they don't have any leaves on them yet. It's kind of an interesting way of growing, where it comes up out of the ground after sleeping all winter and makes these beautiful little yellow flowers. And it's all along here looking really nice out in front of the native plant garden. I'll try to give you a little close-up here of the flowers, so we'll figure out what this plant is and get a bit more information about it. In behind, there's some native lilies starting to grow there. Haven't started flowering yet. The salmonberries leaves are all out. You can see the salmonberry plant here has got all of its leaves on it. And the rose over in the corner there is doing really good. I had to move a couple more roses from over by the fence and the gate into this part of the garden. So things are starting to grow. Still lots of bare soil and lots of room to plant. The peas that we planted in some of these beds are starting to come up. I'll show you the peas. You can see they're just a couple inches off the ground. This is my finger for scale. Not quite a finger length yet, but looking really nice. They have had a little bit of predation. Some bugs or slugs have been nibbling on the leaves, but not too badly. They are starting to grow, and they have these little tendrils that they're going to be reaching up and trying to grab onto this fence, and soon enough they'll start to climb up there, and they'll just start growing really fast. In the corner of this bed, out of nowhere, this huge rhubarb plant started to grow, so it's doing really well. We planted peas right underneath this, not knowing the rhubarb was there. It's just gone crazy in the last couple weeks. Over in this bed, the peas are up as well. Similar size, they're pretty small. If you can just see them at the back of the bed there on the other side of the fence. And then a lot of the mustard greens that some of us planted are starting to come up. This is what they look like. In the other bed with peas, there's some more mustard greens coming up. They're just still really small with their first two leaves. The grapes and the kiwis that we planted along the fence in the shed are looking not super green yet, but they will start to grow. You can see just the beginnings of them there. The kiwis over here by the fence have actually started to grow leaves. You can see the first little leaves starting to grow on these kiwi plants here, and they're going to grow all the way up on this fence. It'll take them some time to get there. Here's an image of the little herb garden. Lots of parsley growing right now. Things are starting to go. What else can I show you? The kale plants over in this part of the garden are starting to flower. So you can see kale's jumped up. It's quite a bit taller than it was just a couple weeks ago. And as the plants start to flower, they try to grow up really tall to get their flowers and then their seeds up as high as they can, so they can scatter their seeds as far as possible. These early flowers are actually really tasty. You can see they look a lot like broccoli, and kale is related to broccoli, and those are actually my favorite part of the kale plant, is those early flowers. They're like little broccoli spears. This stem here is really tender and really delicious too, so there's lots of good food on that kale plant. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to harvest the food that's available in the garden here and get it out to families who might benefit from having a little bit of extra food at this time. So there's more food, chard and kale there. The garlic's continuing to grow. Our garlic bed is looking pretty good. Raspberries are starting to put on their leaves, and yeah, things are starting to grow here in the garden. I'm going to be here once a week and I'll keep posting a couple videos a week so you guys can follow along and see the progress. And I'll try to also share with your teachers some resources in case you're interested in trying to grow a few things at home to help feed your family and help pass the time maybe. Hope you guys are all doing well, and hopefully I get to see you again before the end of the school year. Take care.